My very first year, we're rolling around, like, let's say a Wednesday or whatever on the bikes. It's getting late. My campmate / roommate and I were like thinking about just like hightailing it back to camp, tired. We don't know what's going on. And then we're like, well, what are those like lights over there in the distance? So we decided to go check it out and roll upon it and land at this thing that I did not know what it was, but learned later was called Robot Heart.
What's that?
It's apparently an art car that makes some boom booms and wub wubs.
Yeah, they give away these goggles. I don't know.
Lots of pretty people can be dancing on the top of it. But a friend of mine that was going that year told me that like a New York duo called Bob Moses was going to be playing somewhere on Playa, but who knows where or when. And it turned out like right when we rolled up, they started playing. And I'm like, okay, I know of this duo back from the hometown, right? They do their thing. They have like a guitar that they play live with also that makes it fun. And I decided that, like, okay, I'm going to dance. Let me set down my bag on this one bag pile. And I know that, like, everything moves around here, but there's only one bag pile, and it's by this art car, and that'll be totally fine.
Yep.
So, like...
this humongous structure is never going to move, because I see it there right now.
Yep, and there's not more than one bag pile. This will be totally fine. So, like, after, like, an hour of dancing, like, you know, wits about me. I'm stone cold sober, just having fun, right? I turn around, there's like many bag piles. The art car has moved. And I realize like, well, I don't want to moop it, you know? And then I'm like, oh crap, I have my ID in that bag also. And it's my water. I know. I've got this figured out. This set is apparently going until sunrise. I don't have that much time until like it's over. Everybody will clear out. My bag will be like the last thing here. And then I can just take that and like go back to camp, right? So like sunrise rolls around. I'm having a fun time dancing, wishing I did have my water. But doing the thing, and then they close up the set, and they're like, thank you for joining us at this beautiful sunrise. And as a special gift to you all, we now have a surprise set from our friend Skrilly. And at that point, I'm like, oh, fuck, it's Skrillex.
Jeffrey Skrillex?
The one and only.
Antonio Skrillex?
Yep. So at that point, I realize I'm in for this for like another hour at least, right? And the sun's coming up, so it's getting hotter. I know you can use Playa as sunblocks, so I do that. And I keep on dancing my best, right? And I'm actually having like a lot of fun because I thought Skrillex was going to play the wub wub.
It's been like 3 or 4 hours without you drinking water now.
Probably more like 2 and change, right? But
all
like,
right.
You know, it's coldest right before the dawn, right? So I'm not like totally sweating or anything. But like as the sun actually starts picking up, I'm like, oh man, this is actually getting kind of hot. So eventually I just kind of like, you know, swallow my pride, and I ask one of the guys at like the door of Robot Heart, like, hey man, you've probably seen me like dancing here for like a couple hours. The problem is my bag is under one of those bag piles and it has my water on it. Would you happen to have any more water? And he goes like, sure, and throws like this 2-liter thing at me, and I just down the whole thing. And he's like, feel better? And I'm like, yeah, I feel awesome. And he's like, want to go up there? And I'm like, yeah. The next thing I know, I'm on top of Robot Heart,
nice,
like, completely covered in dust, probably looking like out of my mind, right? And just like dancing right next to Skrillex.
I don't know. They only let hot people up there. That sounds pretty hot.
Oh, I was not one of those people. Trust me, the crowd thins out in the AM.
All right.
But yeah, as I'm dancing up there, he like eventually drops the track that has like this riff going like kind of creepy, dude, kind of creepy. And I'm like, I hope that was about me.
Oh God, that's so
like,
fucking cool.
Flamboyantly butt dancing like right next to him. And then eventually like the set stops, and like he pulls out the SD card and hands it to a guy who's like, great set, Sonny. And he's like, fuck, I didn't have sunblock on. And at that point, like, I had a great time. I thought the music was actually like great. He's a pretty good DJ, like, not gonna lie. And at that point, I'm like, thanks, man. That was like awesome. It was like way better than I expected, and gave him a fist bump. And he's just like, thanks, while doing the fist bump. It's not like the next day that I was like, oh shit, I just negged Skrillex.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I was totally serious, though. Like, I expected nothing but, like, loud, blast-in-your-face wub-wub, and it was just, like, some really fun dance music.
That loud-in-your-face wub-wub actually sounds kind of nice to me.
It can be. There's a lot of exposure to it in the fire spinning community.
Oh, I'll bet. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got that all the time. It's like when I have to interact with drag. Like... Yeah. I've seen all the drag. Like, I've seen hundreds of hours of the drag. I could do without the drag. But some, like, real crunchy bass. All right.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for the jungle and also the disco. So if any of that comes on and I can fire spin to it, I am having a lot of fun.
Right on.
You are about our age, aren't you?
Yeah.
I am pleased that there has recently been a little bit of a drum and bass resurgence, a little bit of a comeback.
I am digging that as well.
So dubstep is going to come back then. That's what you're saying. Cannot wait.
Well, I mean, like, maybe, like, dark room in Bristol with no lights on dubstep. Like, sure, I'm cool with that coming back.
That sounds hot as shit. Yeah, let's do that.
Let me hear some Burial, like, deep sub bass, right?
Welcome to Accuracy Third. I'm Dday.
I'm Rex.
And I'm Beth.
Beth!
Oh, God. What did I do?
I'm just happy
That's
to be
just
in the
how you're
studio. You're about to go on vacation for 3 weeks, Beth. This will come out either while you're gone or right after you came back, but it doesn't matter. You're not going to listen to it anyway. That said, Beth, what are your impressions of Travis?
Travis was on the phone.
Yes, Travis was on the phone.
Yeah.
Not our Travis. I just really wanted to hear you get tense getting on the podcast. We have a fraught relationship with a guy named Travis. Not this guy named Travis.
This guy
named Travis
is a great
was
Travis.
a delight.
Yeah. He doesn't owe me thousands of dollars.
He hasn't done 3/4 of a job on my property and has disappeared entirely.
Yeah, he has not bought a vehicle from me and then failed to mail in the change of ownership form so that the DMV is coming after me for his accident.
Gosh.
And many more.
We have such a low bar for Travises. And this Travis
is great.
This Travis is great.
It is very unfortunate.
Other
that
Travis
his
in
namesake-
New York. Well, they're both in New York.
They're both in New York.
They both occupy the same state. They counterbalance each other.
Now I'm just picturing like good Travis as like a cleaned up version of our Travis. Just like, you know, doesn't smell, does his laundry, like has a pound or two of extra weight so he isn't just like antlers.
This Travis fire dances instead of just smelling like gasoline. Although I expect this Travis also smells a bit like white gasoline.
Yeah, I camp fuel for sure.
Thing about this Travis, though, Beth,
Yes.
If we would like, we can learn how to fire spin this year.
Next year.
Next year. Oh, he's not going this year.
That's right.
God, you remember so much from these
I
interviews.
told you.
Hey, this Travis, hit us up next year at Burning Man when you will teach me how to fire spin.
I do like that as a playa name as this Travis.
This Travis.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's this Travis. This Travis right here.
Beth, do you recall this Travis's gift to us when we met him at the listener party in Center Camp?
Yeah, it's those cards, right? That's this Travis.
This Travis's incredible cards.
Yeah. I remember being handed it, and he's like, no, but really look at it. Really look at it. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, oh, this is actually a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
This Travis does very in-depth and complicated artistic interactions with people on Playa.
and fire dancing.
And fire dancing.
fire dancing.
And those are just two delightful ways to interact with the little temporary society that we create out there. And
This Travis?
this Travis I laud you for. And this is this Travis. So, Travis, great to have you on the podcast. Not really cool. You stiffen Beth for all that rent, but
Wrong Travis. Wrong.
Oh.
Why do we have to keep doing this?
I don't know.
Actually, that's a
Good bit.
It's a great place to start. Do you want to be Travis on this here podcast, or do you have a nom de burn?
There's like a nom de burn, but I'm pretty much just Travis.
Is it funny?
Not particularly. At least on the core schedules, it'll be Tri-Trav McDanger. That's like enough for anybody who knows me to put it together.
Yeah, that sounds like a really specific client name. Tri-Trav McDanger?
Well, yeah. Well, McDanger is my middle name.
Uh-huh.
The Tri-Trav comes from one of the other Vulcan Empire camp leaves running around with like a label maker the one year. So, you know, slapping labels on stuff. Like Lag Driver got labeled Thumper 1. Other Lag Driver got labeled Thumper 2. On our scaffolding, there was like Death Level 1, Death Level 2, Death Level 3 as you went up. And I was sitting on my little like tripod camping chair playing with my fire prop called Triads on a break, and then came up and slapped Tri-Trav on the cup.
It's not bad.
So that's not try like attempting to do something. That's try like 3.
Yeah.
Like an umvirate.
Yep.
Or an oon.
Well, the real shame in that story is that there wasn't a third triple thing, so you could have been a Travis.
I could try to be a Travis.
Try,
There's
Travis.
a way.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow.
Horrible.
We've hit quattro try.
This soon in the episode, too. So, Travis, are you a New York native? Are you an East Coast boy?
I'm an East Coast boy. I'm from like about 100 miles from here, Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Oh, I am also a Pennsylvanian. Congratulations getting out of Allentown.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I've lived there and then here, so it's pretty straightforward.
So how did you get from there to here all the way across the country to Burning Man?
So that actually does start back in Pennsylvania, circa 2006. At that point, I was very into sound design and synthesizers and making weird things with that. And I met someone who was making this weird video installation thing. You could make these like video streams with your fingers touching a touch panel, and asked him what he was getting up to like later that year or other projects. And he's like, oh, I'm going out to this thing called Burning Man. I didn't put it together until later, but that would have been with Illumination Village. And I think the project was making those like large things from 2001 A Space Odyssey, but like dropping them out on Playa somewhere. So that was a neat project, neat sounding project, but that's when it first got put on my radar. So then like fast forward, like not the better part of 10 years, but I start hearing about it from like other people at like an artist loft I'm living at, like, oh, I just went to this thing. I think you'd really like it. And then I think a couple years later, roommates of mine were actually going. And I'm like, well, that sounds interesting. I don't have a ticket, but that'd be cool to go to at some point. And a friend of mine who was doing Fire Conclave said, well, if you could get a ticket in time, there's like not a lot of time for planning, but you could do it. Do you think you could go if you would get a ticket? And I was like, yeah. So unbeknownst to me, that friend actually had an extra ticket available via Fire Conclave and one they had gotten through the lottery. So I got the lottery ticket, or, just the general sale ticket. I mean. Mm-hmm. And then, tagged along with my roommates and had an incredibly good time. That was 2015. So
after nearly a decade of building it up in your head, how did the reality play out for you?
Pretty awesome. Like, I actually had a blast doing that. Next year, I came back and ended up camping with Vulcan Empire, who I'm now a camp lead of. And then the year after that, ended up joining up with like Fire Conclave via Empire Fire Collective here in New York. So I had a lot of fun. I got exposed to fire spinning, like proper out there.
What is Vulcan Empire? Tell us about that.
Vulcan Empire goes back to circa 2007, I think. So there was a like collection of fire spinners living in Vulcan Studios in East Oakland. They ended up like rallying together and going to Black Rock City, making a camp for flow arts or object manipulation. If you want to go look up the subject on the encyclopedia. Yeah. That became Vulcan Town. And then circa 2015, I think, Vulcan Town collaborated with New York City's Empire Fire Collective, and then ended up, mashing up and becoming Vulcan Empire. So the Vulcan
cool. So it's a bi-coastal project.
Yep. Vulcan still goes back to Oakland, and then Empire's, New York City. Mm-hmm. It's not Star Trek. It's Vulcan like Hephaestus. Yeah.
We are intimately familiar with the Vulcan.
We've been in it, which is what that means.
Yeah, Beth has thrown up on their concrete floor.
Rock and roll.
Which is a great place to throw up if you're going to throw up on a floor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is it object manipulation so that contact jugglers don't feel left out?
Yeah, I mean...
As somebody who tried to teach himself contact juggling in my youth.
You still got those devil sticks rotting somewhere in the yard.
Yes, but I have those ironically.
Mm-hmm. Well, you did.
They're somewhere.
Rotting.
Yeah.
In the yard.
If you do want to do fire spinning sometime, Vulcan has been running Spin Your First Fire classes at the Burn for the past couple of years. And thanks to putting those in the What, Where, When book, had like pretty big turnouts for those, which is really cool.
Nice. And you do your own fire spinning now that you are a person who has been to Burning Man with fire spinners?
Indeed, I do.
Which flavor of fire spinning do you do?
My preferred prop is one called Triads, which is a little newer on the scene. I don't think I really saw those around much before 2016. But it's a little metal ring about like 1 inch, and it's got 3 spokes that come out about a foot, and each of those has a wick on the end. So they were really originally made as like fire-eating torches. But then I haven't seen a lot of fire eaters use them. We just started picking them up and using them like funny fire fans. I think they're pretty cool because you can get these like weird negative space shapes around your own body with them and use them like perfectly balanced fans and get some kind of cool finger tricks in there.
Interesting.
But I put a lot of time on those kind of grifting moves from other props, but then also double staves and palm torches, although I am also poi and rope dart curious.
The rope dart is pretty cool.
Indeed they are. And we have some like great rope dartists here in the city also, so I'm trying to pick up what I can there.
Rope dart and I think it's called comet are to me the most impressive because they really look like they're going to kill you and not through the fire.
Oh, yeah, totally. Just don't mess up.
Fire's not going to help. No, you're already damaged.
The fire's not going to help, but it's definitely going to be the rope and or chain crushing your trachea that's going to be what ends you.
Well, it's that, and also the poi are just the right length that you want to watch where those are going around your waist.
Oh, I bet.
Ooh. Yeah,
Horrendous.
that's something that's always kept me from fulfilling my fire curiosities. I'm kind of a furry fella. I would go up like a candle.
Well, not necessarily. If you have like a fire safe clothing on, which is like anything non-synthetic material, like cotton, wool, silk even, or just like skin, right? Because it's technically leather.
He's going to need a mask and a hood too.
Oh yeah, and like it's not going to set my skin on fire, but it will set the entire surface of my skin very briefly on fire, and then no one will want to be within like 60 feet of me.
Don't worry about that. It's just like that's how I shave every year. It's like by the end of the season, I will have no arm hair. It's fine.
Just walking around smelling like a hair perm place.
Yeah, pretty much. But
Smooth boy camp.
it's an acquired scent.
What was the thing that really caught you by surprise when you made it to Burning Man?
What caught me by surprise then, and I think still now, like even comparing to regionals, is just the scale. I describe it to people as like the world's biggest art museum. Like I've been to like some pretty large outdoor sculpture gardens, but like nothing really holds a candle to like Inner and Deep Playa once it's like fully going, all the artwork out there and everything going on. So that's like a thing that struck me like the very first year I was there, and also like right after the off years, basically. It was just like, whoa, the scale.
Yeah, and it's not just the scale in terms of the quantity of art, but the scale of the art itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
The landscape, the city around it is a part of it. All of us human creatures. It's a hell of a museum. It'd be really neat to get one of those like classical mid-century architects out to Burning Man to take some influence from and create something cool there.
Do you want like zombie Frank Lloyd Wright?
Yes.
Yeah.
I want Burning Man Guggenheim. Is that too much to ask?
We need more of that in the world.
Right?
What about
burning
like,
water?
What about just austerity posing as modernism with just like boring sheets of glass and steel?
I'm here for that. As long as it's stuck in the ground well enough.
I want to see
Fair enough.
like Playa Adobe Brutalist.
Great. Yeah.
Try leaving no trace.
That's
with
pretty
that.
cheap, too. You don't have to bring a lot of materials out. The org will provide us with enough water to make some like really, truly muddy art.
There was one sculpture out there last year that I did not see but did hear about that was effectively like a bunch of water cubes in a tower that you could climb, but apparently like anywhere where you'd want to put your hand was probably not a place you wanted to put your hand.
Yeah, I saw those and I was baffled by what I was supposed to take from it.
Yeah, I don't know if I thought that was a thing that I was supposed to climb. Not that I am usually going to go climb something, but if I were, I don't think I thought those were what that was for.
Probably better climbing that thing than the car kebab.
Did you try the car kebab?
Oh, God, no.
Yeah,
No?
me neither. Best idea I had that year. Was that the same year as that stone monstrosity?
Stone 27? I think
Yeah.
so.
What a terrifying year.
Did you try Stone 27?
No.
I think I got like partway up it and then was like, nope.
Good man. That's the way to do it. You get to 3, and like at that point, you know whether or not you should nope out.
That might have been the same year, or I don't know. They all kind of blur together at this point, yeah?
Yes.
But there was the one year it was like a living room, like a 1970s house, like free floating, like not like 30 feet up in space, like 25, like enough that if you like dropped, you'd feel it, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I
there
saw
was that
that.
bar on the top of that ladder.
Yeah.
I did not see a really confident and comfortable way to get up there.
It was real crowded by the time we got to it. And why would you ever leave if you got a spot up there?
I got to it early enough that you could get onto it. Getting off of it was the hard part. This is the one ladder going up to like the door that you could only like really fit a person through at a time. So you're like up there going like, I'll trade 2 of yours for 2 of ours. Just let us down.
Yeah. I would never be able to relax up at the top of there knowing that that has to happen at some point in the future.
But there are those great chairs that like hung off the edge. Like, I took a good look at the weld. This is, like, well welded, but these, like, chairs in the living room around, like, the card table with, like, you know, a game on it. But you could sit, and you're just, like, free-floating over space at that point.
I'm here for that. I like that kind of thrill.
Maybe.
It's like, keep Burning Man marginally dangerous.
Yeah, if I'm going to fall, I want a whole bunch of steel to fall underneath me first to break my fall.
So how do you like to occupy your time at Burning Man? What's Burning Man for you?
All right. So, like, one of the things I like doing build is one thing, right? I like getting out there and helping build the Vulcan Empire. But when I can dip off from, like, build, like, Burn Week starting, hey, let's go to Burning Man, I like seeing the art daytime, one pass, seeing as much art as I can, a second time, nighttime. And then third is trying to catch any of those on fire. And sometimes you get this like nice triple effect where you have like a sculpture that was like made to look cool or a certain way in the daytime, lit up and made to do something different, maybe with lighting or whatever at nighttime. And then third thing where it's like trifecta, looks very cool on fire.
Was there a memorable example of that for you?
There was like a phoenix sculpture that I thought was like pretty cool that had like another phoenix in it. Although the burning of that one did not work quite right. I think there was supposed to be another thing inside of it, and then fire gets hot enough that it can melt steel. Yeah.
Yeah. They cooked their art.
Yeah, totally.
Oops.
Contrasting with that one, though, I do remember one year on like the 10 o'clock side, there was like a sculpture that didn't check the first two boxes of like, I'm looking at it in the daytime, and it just looks kind of like beams sticking out of playa with some like burlap and stuff. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't see this quite as a sculpture in the daytime. Was by it at nighttime, and I'm like, I'm also not seeing quite anything there. But then caught it on fire, and then it looked particularly cool. I think it was just intentionally picked materials that look good when they're burning. So it's so much not the sculpture being a sculpture, but the sculpture being a canvas for the fire.
Ooh.
That I've seen kind of like infrequently where it's like this was just made to burn and look cool while it's burning.
Yeah, certainly not something that purely is aesthetically just for the way that it looks when it burns. Sometimes I can see art that is, you know, sculpturally worthwhile in a different way and can tell that it is full of air to help it combust. But not so many things that like are practically kind of just meh, but gorgeous when it burns.
Yeah, I can't think of one like that, but I can definitely think of a bunch of installations where I just couldn't see what the point of the effort was. Like it didn't seem finished or it didn't seem to be a thing. And I now I'm wondering if that's what I've been missing.
Well, one of them was that big kind of metal-looking toenail clipper-looking thing from a couple years ago over on, like, the 9 o'clock side, just at an angle, sticking up out of the playa. Couple holes in it, couple ridges.
Wasn't that just a big toenail clipper?
I don't think it was supposed to be.
You know, art is...
Sometimes disappointing.
It's subjective. It's an experience.
So, Travis, have any good failures?
Yeah, totally.
Good, because I don't trust people who are like, nah.
Let me try and like get one minor failure out of the way, which like I've got my imposter syndrome kicking in this year. My camp and Empire Fire Collective are not going this year. Which is like kind of a bummer, but I consider that like I don't know, not a failure, but we've got like some infra to repair, funds to raise, and just like breather to take, basically. Empire Fire Collective was planning on going this year, but I don't think we quite had the turnout. Part of that just being like a very large amount of camp leads at Vulcan Empire are also group leads or heavy participants in Empire Fire Collective, right?
Right, so you get one group taking a year off and it sort of encompasses the other group.
Yeah, not quite a cascade, but like the numbers were just not quite there.
Uh-huh.
Good to know that early, though.
We'll be back in 2025.
I don't think we'd be interviewing you for the stories for the year to come. We'd
what do you think's going to happen this year?
Actually, we'd probably get a lot more listeners if we were a
Prescient?
a psychic Burning Man predictions podcast.
What about like lightning or something?
Lightning and locusts. Yeah, the locusts. Yeah, they create so much static electricity from their wings that they can create ball lightning.
This seems in theme, right? Like high winds, followed by rains, followed by locusts. Although we did have a bunch of praying mantises in the spin school one year. Those did not piggyback in with us. I have no idea where they came from, but
They're surprisingly common out there. I've seen a lot of mantises.
Yeah, but not a lot of tornadoes.
No.
We could get a tornado this year, which would be appropriate since the theme is there's no place like home.
oh, indeed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know who picked that theme, but thanks for the fear of missing out for that one.
Oh, come on. Everything's just going to be stripes and hats.
Yeah, totally.
It's not like the playa isn't like a solid 10 to 15% Alice on any given year.
Yeah.
It'll just kind of be foregrounded this year.
Yeah, a lot more rabbits this year. A lot of pocket watches. Tea.
Pocket watches.
tea
Don't underrate pocket
everywhere.
watches. They're great.
I have had several times before pocket watches. Nothing makes you more smug than being able to like toss your pocket watch around while you're talking to someone.
Yeah, it's also a flow prop. I don't want to know what time it is a bunch of the time.
One of the pieces of art that I'm really looking forward to this year is pocket watch based. It's a,
yeah.
Interesting.
It's a big 12 to 15 foot climbable melting pocket watch structure.
All right, that sounds cool.
Dali?
Yeah, like vaguely Dali-esque. It's
But like Dali as through Lewis Carroll.
yeah.
Awesome.
This fucking theme. I hope next year's theme is just Garfield.
I told
Beth.
no Peter in the art department that the theme should be normal people.
All right. That'd be cool.
That is now his favorite theme.
Great. Yeah, that's like 2 notches better than hygiene. I give it the hygiene nod of approval.
I mean, you can do hygiene out of Burning Man. I mean, the playa dust is simultaneously sunblock, deodorant, and like a dry shampoo.
I think so. I just think there's a lot of art that could be made from the interesting different shapes of hygiene products. And also, like, there could be a lot of different kinds of art that, like, promote or inspire hygiene, I think. Just really like it as a canvas for the event.
Giant stick of deodorant.
So what's the Brooklyn burner community like?
It's pretty rad, pretty vibrant. I will say I'm biased toward hanging with my Empire Friar Collective people. You know, we're usually like meeting up every week and working on choreo and stuff like that. But, you know, just hanging out, birthdays, etc.
Right.
We do have a burner happy hour here, which I think has been on the podcast at some point.
Yeah.
Down at the bar Lucky. And then some of the bigger camps like Costume Cult will often do like burner parties, or we even have like underground ones that happen from time to time at undisclosed locations, but like various people from various camps will come together and help put that thing on.
That's exciting. That sounds vibrant as shit for one of the boroughs of New York.
Yeah, totally.
Now the Brooklyn burner scene, a lot of mustaches, I'm assuming, yeah?
Yeah, totally. But I might have the longest beard. So it works out.
You do have a pretty impressive beard.
Yeah, thanks. Haven't burned it off yet. It was born at Burning Man.
Well, tell us about how you got your facial hair at Burning Man.
Well, at that point, I was using safety razors and just like shaving like every day. And I was like, I'm going to dry shave at the burn. This is my thing, right? I'll just dry shave in my tent.
Ooh.
And then I nicked my finger in Reno.
Ooh.
And realized very quickly, like within a day or two, that like playa dust, when it gets on like wounds or whatever, they don't get like worse per se, but it like won't
That shit doesn't heal, yeah.
Yeah, so at that point where I was like, screw the shaving, I'm not doing it. And then at that point, I had a beard, and yeah, I just kind of kept it going. I've somehow not burned it off yet, which I'll credit the braiding and some dexterity with the fire props for that. But
If you keep it up, you can become the new Stephen Raspa. He had to retire his beard.
I'm sure I'll get there at some point. We'll figure out where Terminus is, but it's past the belly button now. We'll see if it keeps going.
Oh, that is a big beard. You should see if Gillette will pay you to shave it off on TV.
I don't know if they could pay me enough.
Well, that sounds like a challenge.
I've never grown my beard out that long. I grew it out like long relative to how I normally wear it once. And it's weird how different it feels to have a long beard versus a short beard. Is
it romantic when the wind catches it?
Do you feel it sway? Is it like constant sensory input on you?
No, but it is like having a fidget cube on your face.
So you kind of worry it like a squirrel or something.
Yeah, long enough beard also becomes a flow prop.
I've seen kung fu movies. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, you could
Really whip that thing around.
you put a little fishing weight down at the tip, and then you got beard rope dart.
I mean, it's basically what I'm doing. I put like 2 beads in it that stay in the entire burn. Tiny miracle that I don't lose them. But one all the way at the top of the braid and one all the way at the bottom. Which, like, originally that was just function to keep it together. But then I realized, like, once it has a little bit of weight, I know exactly where it is. And that keeps it out of the way of the double stabs.
I don't usually recommend that we receive a specific photo to go along with the episode. But in terms of this episode, I do request a photo of you with this fancy-ass beard of yours at the burn to go along with the episode, please.
Sure. I will dig around in the archives. There's got to be one of them hanging around somewhere.
Does Vulcan Empire Camp have interactivity on the burn, or is it just art support?
Okay, so we're technically not a fire conclave support camp, but we do have people from, I think, about 5 to 7 different fire groups that do conclave per year. So that's like New York, Brooklyn, Canada, UK, and Europe. I'm forgetting something. Hawaii and Florida. So incidentally, a lot of people who do fire conclave also like doing classes and workshops or teaching them. So that's like our main thing. We build a spin school with like, very nice tall luminette, not as good as center camp, but we get pretty high in the sky with it. And we ran about like 30 classes last year, different workshops on different props, including the 3 Spin Your First Fire events and Fire Spin Jam that we've been doing Monday nights, which has gotten pretty good turnout.
Cool. Do you do much of the teaching, or are you mostly doing the setup?
Yes. So I'm the sound guy for the spin jams and the guy who knows how that thing works. But that sort of weaves into like just organizing bits and bobs of the thing, right? Like running power mains and the audio cables. But we all help out and do that and like do safety shifts, etc. Keep the fuel dump going. And I've taught a couple classes, one on like double stabs and my first class on triads this past year. Which was pretty fun because I had people of various skill levels coming out and like learning how to do the thing, which I thought was very fun. And then the Spin Your First Fires, I've helped out in like 1 or 2 of those as like a safety, but not instructor. I will say those Spin Your First Fire classes are by far the most fun, just to be like participating in. And that like a lot of like fire spinning is like, or any performative art is like, check out this thing I can do, check out this thing I can do, right? Spin Your First Fire is fun because it's look what you can do. Right? As you're like coaching people through the thing and they light the fire prop up, you see their faces light up with it. So it's just, I think the best series of classes that we do are those. It gets like more people involved in the art form. They get to like see some of this stuff as they're going around the burn and then get to try it themselves. I think that's pretty cool.
I was just about to ask what day you were having it, but then I remember that you're not coming out this year.
Oh, well, it'll be like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, probably 2025. Check the what, where, when. Or as I like to call it, the what.
What? Have you ever gone and done something out of the WWW?
I tried to my first year, and then many of the things I either got to too late or they weren't happening or like moved around, right? So like the next year I made like notes going in where like, I'm going to go to these things and then just ended up getting distracted by other stuff. So now if something's happening, I usually find it while it's happening or just some kind of like word of mouth, right? But I will say we do keep to our Spin Your First Fire schedules when they get into that thing. So that's good. It's at least one reliable thing.
It's good to have some structure, I think.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like everything runs on like burner time, right? So
yeah,
you got to have like a little bit of flex in either direction and you'll find something fun anyway.
I've gone to it very rarely, but I think I'm probably batting about 700 on things actually being where and when they say they're going to be. And about 500 on things being pretty cool.
But by the time we show up there, all the meat has been ate.
I was really trying not to call out that specific failure.
Yeah, I wouldn't go anywhere where it says there's going to be food that's in the what, where, when. That's some advice for you. You just have to stumble across food. You can't plan on it.
Yeah, planning is guessing anyway. Yeah.
You're just setting yourself up for disappointment. Why not do a completely unplanned thing and be happy with whatever happens?
Did you ever come across some food that absolutely blew you away?
Yeah, totally. I mean, one is just like random grilled cheese or something like that in deep playa, right?
I feel like grilled cheese is like the universal, like, oh, wow, yes, please experience. Mm-hmm. But there are so many weirder ones.
I think weirder one is like tuna, but like good tuna, right? Like this was actually kept cold properly inside an undisclosed camp at like a random o'clock during strike, right? Like that was like a very pleasant surprise.
Those are the tuna guys.
Tuna guys.
Yeah, I laughed at them when they offered me tuna. I thought they were joking, and then they were like, we're not joking. But I didn't realize they weren't like offering me canned tuna that had made it through the event into cleanup.
No, it was legit. And then friend of ours was like cooking fries and like serious about it, right? So that was just like a very pleasant surprise amidst like doing a bunch of strike work.
Proper fries are incredible, like anywhere you get them, but especially out on playa. That's why I have to always give maximum respect to Midnight Poutine. Like to triple fry frite on playa and
deal with all that oil. It's dealing with all that oil on playa.
And they hold to like high quality standards. Like everything is incredible coming out of there.
Oh, they're legit. We were camp neighbors with them the one year, and like I hopped in for the line for a bit, and I'm like, I can't do lines. Like, it's like,
hard.
I know it's good, but like, okay. And like other pro tip, they like go to a regional that I like going to, so I can always catch it there if they happen to be there that year. Mm-hmm. But one of the advantages of being neighbors with them that year is eventually they came over with like, hey guys, we have like extra fries, or we had potatoes too, so we like collaborated there and got some of the good stuff.
That's the way to do it.
There was one year they were across the street from us, and for whatever reason, my days worked out that I hit them up almost every day. And
I gained like 7 pounds.
Yeah, that was the only year I've appreciably gained weight.
It sounds like a worthy trade-off.
It was like every night you could go to bed, or right before you go to bed, you could get some midnight poutine and then really go to bed.
Sounds like you're doing it right.
I would wake up so dehydrated from all that fucking salt bomb right before I went to sleep. But God, I would sleep from like 12:30 or 1 solidly until 8 or 9 in the morning.
Yeah, and because it was right by our camp, we could always bring our own container, and they always hook you up if you're bringing.
Yeah, they fill your container.
Never mind a cup, bring a bucket, right? Friends of mine have skipped ahead doing like fire performance. They're doing that one year. Like, hey, if you can sufficiently distract the line, we'll bump you to the front then after you're done performing. I don't think that's quite a trade, but like I think a fire spinner is like having an excuse to spin fire wherever allowed.
Well, no one's gonna stop you if you start.
That's true.
Sometimes
You're like the guy with the guitar on the college quad, except people want you there.
yeah, like fire spinning is sort of like playing guitar, except like if you showed up at an open mic and everyone was suddenly like, it makes sound. Like, you know, people expect a guitar to make sound, but with the fire props, people are always amused by the fire, right?
Yeah, but you can't play Counting Crows with the fire props.
Yet.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
I mean, they've got those sequenced LEDs looking real cool. It wouldn't be that hard to put some sound chips in them.
I mean, while on the subject of rock and roll and fire spinning, do you guys know the difference between rock stars and fire spinners?
No.
Rock stars don't think they're fire spinners.
Oh, that's good. God damn.
Hopefully I didn't make too many new enemies with that joke.
Fuck them. That's a good joke.
It's a great joke.
Yeah, we don't know any rock stars.
Well, you do now.
That's not true. We do know rock stars. We featured them a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had a couple.
We actually know a lot of rock stars. I take it back. This hobby of ours is pretty cool. God damn, we're pretty cool. You're pretty cool too.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you, Travis. Coolest Travis.
Okay for a cosplay jock.
Yeah, what you cosplaying? What's your armor made out of?
Well, just my skin, basically.
I see.
Wait. Let me parse this. Are you cosplaying as a jock?
No. The other joke there is like, okay, if Rangers get to be cosplay cops and Gate gets to be cosplay security, Fire Spinners get to be cosplay jocks.
Okay, I get it.
Maybe it's not the best joke.
It's not bad. I think you should all have Letterman jackets.
It's close.
That'd be pretty funny.
We're always flexing the chi rolls.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I think you want to be the jocks, but you're actually the theater kids.
It's cosplay jocks, but it's like at a prep school where the jock sport is like water polo.
They're like the burner magicians.
That's not nice.
It's like half of them just like doing math and making spirograph shapes.
Plotting out where the fire could go if we were people who were going to get up and go outside to do it. This is all very fun.
Do you ever see fire spinning stuff at Burning Man that drives you crazy?
Not.
Yeah, get real bitchy
many
about
things.
fire spinning stuff.
There's like not that many complaints I really can have because like here in the city that invented fire escapes, surprisingly uptight fire codes and laws. Big surprise, right?
Yeah.
So we don't get to do it too much in the city, you know, like finding places that are zoned up or we can do it's like a process. But like out at the burn, it's kind of like a field day because, you know, most places you can do the thing, assuming like it's cool with whatever camp you're doing it at, or you've got your double buckets and safety stuff set up. No one's going to really hassle you with it. Mm-hmm. The one like quip or gripe that I can think of is we had a spin jam at our camp one year after the man burn. We haven't done that since because like at least in one case, some guy, don't know who, showed up who definitely had a few too many drinks, right?
Uh-huh.
So fire spinning, kind of like driving, you're not going to do it better drunk, right? You're definitely not going to nail the trick. Kids, please stay at least burner sober, you know? Like, but yeah, like I was safetying at this point and this guy was like, don't tell me if I'm on fire unless it's for like 5 seconds or more, right? Which like, that's when we're supposed to be going incoming with the doobie, right?
Yeah, that's right on the edge of that not being a great situation.
Yeah, so like when we've had spin jams, people were cool. They do the thing. Great people turn out. That was like the one instance where it's like, hey, man, you're making the safeties kind of uncomfortable. Where it's like, just don't drink and spin, kids. Get your dopamine kicks one thing at a time, right?
Yeah, I was curious because I've been going to Burning Man a long time, and I've really watched fire spinning explode as a presence. Like the conclave show before the burn is completely packed all the way around the circle with performers, and they're turning performers away, and that used to be just like a few hundred hippies. So I'm interested at how what the internal dynamic of that art community is like, if there's a divergence and good and bad behavior within.
I mean, I haven't run into too many things that are all that bad. I think people generally know wear fire safe materials, try and do the thing sober. I've seen, like, I can count on one hand instance of that where at least I was around, but like, it was like, okay, maybe don't be spinning wearing that in particular. You don't want to be wearing anything synthetic because
synthetic tassels.
Yeah, it's not about the fuel transfer. Like the fuel will burn off, but if the thing you're wearing is made of plastic, effectively, that's going to melt.
That is fuel.
Oh, like faux fur and things that are really dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that'll just go up.
It's not going to combust, but if fuel transfers to it, that thing's going to melt as the fuel burns off, right? So you just don't want that. Go for shirtless if you have to, right?
That's good to hear and kind of unsurprising, I guess.
Also, like for the Spin Your First Fire thing, we have Nomex suits. You can get an entire fireproof suit, not fire resistant, like fireproof, right?
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, totally. We've had like one spinner show up who had never done fire poi before and seemed kind of nervous about it. And I was like, well, we have like a Nomex suit over there if you want to put that on. Performer jumps into it and then lights up the poi and just like does this awesome job, like far better at this prop than I am, or even some people I've seen, right? Just awesome, you know? So don't be afraid of the Nomex suits. You can realize you have a new superpower with that, the confidence that comes from being fireproof.
That is the first thing anyone has ever said that has made me consider fire spinning.
Oh, yeah. Okay, maybe I gotta egg you on at some point.
Like if I have a fireproof suit, I will fling fire around my body. If I don't, something catastrophic will happen with fire.
It's also like, it's not all poi and rope dart, right? Like we've got big staves and palm torches even the triads are actually kind of fun when you're wearing a fireproof suit.
Yeah, but if I'm wearing a fireproof suit, it really seems like I should be flinging something around me. I want a comet or something.
Yeah, we can hook you up.
Fabulous.
Well, looks like a year after this, we're spitting some fire.
Yeah, I'll bring a mouth guard. Spent too much money on these teeth not to.
You're fine. I've felt those poi. They're solid, but they're not going to knock teeth out.
Great. Even better.
Yeah, just watch the like mid waist, right?
I can bring a cup. I have several punishment cups.
It's like every time I pick them up, I'm like, I should be wearing extra protection doing this. Oh wait, so I do have one burning question for y'all.
Oh yes, please.
Did you use the unfuck your burn cards?
No.
No, and I really should have. There was such call for it.
Back.
There really was.
I mean, I've still got mine.
Yeah, I put it with my treasures pretty quickly.
I think I have
Okay.
2.
The problem is if you give it to someone, like now you don't have it. And you may have just given it to an asshole who needed it.
Yeah, but you just amplified your participation, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, no worries. They don't expire per year, and they will be back again. Hopefully on some like better card stock that looks like the real thing.
Great. And like, you know, I have a feeling mine are in whatever mysterious place, like a bunch of stuff I never found after I got back from Playa where it was, because I didn't entirely unpack this year. So when I am packing for next year, if I look at any of my stuff before I drag it to Playa, I will probably find it then.
Travis, why don't you describe this gift that Dday and I have both received and failed to implement on?
Oh, okay, right on. So good news for you guys. They don't expire per year, right? I even have one friend who carries one around in his wallet because he said it gives him confidence when he's burning, right? But just to kind of like describe these things, it's just a card that looks like a certain game that teaches you about how monopolies suck. And it's decommodified. It says community chance and then very big letters, unfuck your burn. Destroy this card and leave no trace to enable immediacy. Do not pass out. Do not collect 200 degrees. This card may be kept until needed or gifted. Copyright 1986 Baker Beechers Inc. And then says very small at the bottom, made with all 10 principles. And I forget if I gave you all the spiel on this.
You did.
Yeah. It's like it was inspired by the podcast. It was the NARC episode where I'm listening to that and thinking like, man, this person really needed to get out of jail free card, but did get out of jail, right? And I was like, oh, maybe what was really needed was an unfuck your burn card.
Wow.
And like made with 10 principal things that was baked in there. Is it worth doing a quick rundown on that?
Hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the leave no trace that was on the card. So there's one principle. The decommodification is in there with like the 1986 Baker Beechers Inc. The gifting, because it says the card may be kept until needed or gifted. The radical inclusion was me trying to gift them to like kind of every sort of walk of life I could find at the burn. I tried to make sure like 1/3 of them went out to people that might have been like virgins or like, you know, new to the burn, right? 1/3 to like dusty burners who might get some of the humor involved, and like 1/3 to anybody who looked like they could like really use it or was having like a bad time. The radical self-reliance was like the destroy, because you have to figure out how you want to destroy it. The immediacy you get from the destruction of the card. The participation is the community chance, so hopefully you're going out and doing something fun with people to destroy the card, like, you know, effigy burn, something like that, right? And then the sneaky ones that are kind of like not obvious are the civic responsibility, because originally the card said it was to incinerate instead of destroy. I wanted people to go out to like an effigy burn and like drop the card on the effigy. And yes, I did check OF2 fire safety guidelines to make sure these things were like burn barrel compatible. So that was like above board. But then I thought incinerate might be a really bad idea, right? If someone like lights up a card too close to something, that could be a problem, right? The communal effort came in kind of like trying to ask people what would be like a better word to put there without revealing what I was actually like working on. And eventually, like, just from talking with like people, came up with like destroy. And then the sneaky one was like consent, where I did not hand out a single one of those cards without asking a person like, do you want a gift? And then handing it over and explaining. So
What an incredibly well thought out participatory gift structure
thanks.
you have created.
And I want to add, really well executed. I mean, the item looks like the genuine article. It looks like it came right out of the Landlord's Game. Google it.
Oh, totally. Yeah, for that, I actually like took scans of like 1936 print versions of the cards. And
Nice.
mashed the picture together and like hand drew a vector thing of the man because I couldn't actually find his head online. It's vector. So like kind of like mashed together these different cards from like the 30s to 50s because like the font wouldn't look right. So I scanned like the ink printed letters and rearranged them as like vectors.
Oh, very cool.
Try to get the detail there. And as one guy told me, like, this is pretty cool, but could you have done it with like more obsessive detail? Like,
Yeah, not if you were going to do it right.
yeah. Well, I don't know. Like the idea popped into my head from like listening to that episode and then just came out in like a 48-hour burst or like worked on it a couple evenings. And sometimes stuff comes together like that. The fun thing about them though that I didn't expect is like so many good conversations. I like printed up like 500 of those things, I think. And like so many good conversations with people just like handing them out and then just like a few good like destructions, right? Like one I gave to like a guy who was like kind of looking just not disappointed, but just kind of like forewarned, saddle weary, you know, like at an effigy burn. And I gave it to this guy and he goes like, fuck yeah. And he like throws it onto the art that had just burned. And I asked him what his deal was. And he's like, oh, I'm the artist. Mission accomplished. Like somebody did actually throw it onto like a lit effigy, right? One or two people ate the cards. As I was telling people, it's made of recycled paper and soy-based inks. So like that finally did happen like once or twice. And one of the other fun ones to hand out was a guy who was just like, you know, I'm like rolling out of camp after build where it's like, hey, let's finally go to Burning Man, right? First thing I try and do is go to the man, right? So we get there and there's this guy at the man base screaming like, fuck your burn, fuck your burn, fuck your burn. And I'm like, hold on. I got to give this guy something. So I get up and hand him the card and like immediately he like lightens up, right? Like, or, you know, starts like, I don't know, he gets the jokes, finds it funny. There's a campmate there with him. He's just like, he's fine. He just had a bad build, right? So it's like nice giving them to people and watching them find creative ways to like rip, burn, eat, destroy them and like just see them in a better mood, right?
It's a really solid idea. You know, there's an impulse in our community when people hear about gifting as a principle to come up with some little gimmick you can give out. And more often than not, what they end up giving out is some trash. I love you in my community, but I don't ever need another Fimo necklace.
This year I'm
totally,
giving out zip tie cock rings. It's just a zip tie, but I call them zip tie cock rings.
It's great that you landed on something in that space that is really a piece of art, a moment of real immediacy. Bravo. I love it.
Thanks.
I can't wait to see your bingo card in 2025.
Burner bingo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Burner bingo is fun to play.
As far as we know, that's what the theme is going to be about. Bingo hall.
Let me see what I can get together in the vector graphics program. I will say before capping off on those things would not have been possible without the podcast. The idea directly came from y'all, or indirectly, let's say, right?
Making shit?
Yeah, well, just making those things specifically, right? Like, wouldn't have happened unless I was listening and the mind started wandering, right? Mm-hmm. I will say they do work, though. I used mine, like, on, like, just before burn night when those, like, high winds were coming through, because we were already getting word that, like, Fire Conclave might get canceled because of that, right? I forget how long the dust storm was that day, but it was just, like, endless, right? So I ended up burning mine in camp in like, a little bucket thing, and we got to perform, so that was good.
It's always so satisfying when the spell works.
Yeah, totally. The thing is, like, I gave you all the last 3 that I had last year and didn't print up more, so maybe could have used those before it turned into moist burn. Because, like, lo and behold, the Fire Conclave did get canceled this past year, which is the second time ever it's actually happened, right? I've only heard hearsay. This is before my time, but in 2007, I think it got canceled from high winds.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the year that the winds blew all night long. The burn got postponed until like
Midnight? Yeah.
I can only imagine geodesic domes rolling around playa like tumbleweeds.
God, it's horrifying. I've seen it happen from a couple blocks away.
Yeah, I've definitely helped, like, kind of pin one down or an easy up. Like, yeah, that was that 2 years ago. Yeah, there was very high winds rolling through build.
What's really scary is when you see a steel frame carport in the air. Just
Yeah,
They
you
rear
don't
up
want
like
that.
a Bronco.
zero contact with the ground.
Yeah, it's not what you want.
No.
Use lag bolts, kids. Lots of lag bolts.
It's kind of an art not dying out there. But what a fun, stupid, dangerous situation we are constantly putting ourselves in. And it's not even, you can't even just trust yourself because you got to trust your neighbors too. And that is society.
Communal effort.
Communal effort means making sure your neighbor's carport is lag bolted in.
Everybody bring an extra 30 to 50 lag bolts.
And extra bags for your shoes if it ever rains again.
Yeah.
How did you deal with the moist?
I was doing great. I was like mostly passed out. So one thing I learned from this past year was like, don't wait till Friday. And I didn't, right? So I think like early AM morning before it rained, I'd heard there was a party from like another fire spinning group, Fire Mingos, like out on like Deep Playa. They were doing like a champagne and pancake thing with some fire spinning and stuff, right? So I was like out there until like way past, sunrise, get back, eventually like pass out when it starts raining, right? So I managed to like just hibernate through it. It's the like most rested I've ever been. I probably should have been up on ladders, like doing things with the shade structure, but it worked out okay.
Yeah, you're competent campmates. We'll take care of it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we're down definitely some tarps, but the structures didn't come down. We fared okay. The biggest bummer for us was just like Fire Conclave getting canceled, but like we still got a performance at our own camp, just kind of doing like a rehearsal, right? And then another New York camp costume called Esplanade will host us like to just do a jam on Wednesday nights. So we got to like spin a bit there as a group.
Nice.
So like it wasn't all for naught, right? And then of course, like after the rain, well, one, we had neighbors. Like during the rain, I hope they had the generator up, elevated on something, but they were blasting some music and it was awesome. So at least we were rocking out in tents. And after that, we got to go like up the block once, it was not raining, but still muddy and just do some fire spinning in the street. At that point, you got to like burn through your fuel for conclave, right?
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to take that home.
No.
Yeah, we do not like leaving it on the trail or intra-year. So it's kind of burn it all off before the end of the burn as best as we possibly can, right?
So were you team bread bag or team barefoot or team sock?
I was on all of these teams at different points in time, and all of these teams lost.
Ooh, no favorite, huh?
So I think the real key is to have some kind of like shoe with no tread. I'm investigating like yoga shoes, right? It's like something where there's not like a lot of grooves on the bottom. I think that could possibly work. The next best thing I found was just like socks, right? Thicker wool socks, and they still get like very grody, but at least that worked for when I was finally like venturing out deeper to like inner playa. Still muddy, still not great, but socks work, right?
How about
Plastic
socks
bags.
over boots?
Socks over boots might work if it's enough to like cancel out the tread, right? Plastic bags over boots, like it'll work, but you're gonna go through so many bags. It's like,
Nah, man,
if it's worth it.
Construction bags. I had the same 2 construction bags connected to a pair of suspenders for like 4 fucking days. Are they loud? Yes, they are. But they work. They work and they work endlessly.
Can't stop
Duly
talking
noted.
about his construction bags.
Yeah, I called them my plumpers. Rex hated it up till now.
If it works, it works.
I eventually just went team barefoot. Mostly because the socks, as effective as they were, became a problem once they're off my feet.
You still got to be careful with like barefoot or socks though, right? Like at least the past couple years during build, I've been finding like lags or like tent stakes and things like that are in the ground, not from us. I think from the Renegade burns. I think there's like some stuff still kind of like scattered and buried out there from like the off years. So you got to be like stepping carefully. I'll put it that way, right? It's like you got to not look out just for like stuff that's put there that year, but there could be like surprises from previous years. I don't think many, right? But
Rex has those big galoot like Flintstone feet. I'm not sure anything can puncture them.
It's true. It would take a pretty sharp piece of rebar to cause me any damage. Feet of clay, they say. Though I don't think that's what that means.
No, that means something Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you oughtn't feet of clay.
Isn't that jars of clay?
That is also something Jesus.
What's up with clay and Jesus? I thought he was a carpenter.
Sure, but like part of your carpentry is probably hiring a mason to do the front entranceway.
Next time on Catechism 3rd.
So Travis, you go to youth group? You one of Christ's little helpers over there on the East Coast?
nah.
Cool, good. Right on.
I mean, like, there is like a tiny indie theater here that plays like martial art films on Sunday, and that is called Fist Church.
Ooh,
Fucking incredible.
I like that.
Yeah, I wish we had that. Maybe we could start that at the Piedmont or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to see some kung fu.
I agree. And that was this, Travis.
This was this, Travis.
Really appreciate you coming on the podcast, Travis. And to our listeners who also would like to go to our listener appreciation party and then come on the podcast, you should. But you shouldn't tell us about it at Burning Man. You should email us at accuracythird@gmail.com or connect with us on social medias, which we are on some of them. You know how to use DuckDuckGo. Search us in DuckDuckGo. They probably have organized the internet correctly. The music on this episode is by this Travis. And Accuracy Third is produced by Accuracy Third.
You can find us at that listener appreciation party Dday mentioned Wednesday of event week at 2:00 at a location to be named in the future. If you want to host us this year, get a hold of us, PDQ, unless you already heard us announce a location for this year being 2024, because, podcasts are asynchronous.
At the last episode that we send out this year as we are leaving for Playa.
We will have accurate information for you. Probably.
Yeah, or it will be slightly wrong, and then Rex will release a retraction while we're already on Playa.
Yeah, just a 3-minute retraction.
I discovered that in the porta potty one morning. I was like, ooh, we put out a podcast. Oh, it's Rex by himself.
It was my favorite episode of last year.
It was a gift. Put a smile on my face as my asshole did something unconscionable.
We may just release a party location blurb episode before we go anyway. So if you see a episode with a 90-second length, that's what that is.
Insert party episode here. Well, I'm not doing that.
Nah.
Nah.
Cool. Come be on the podcast, talk to us, come to our party. You know how to email us. The social medias that we are on. Mostly Blue Sky. And Discord.
I'm this close to having Beth on Blue Sky. I've been showing her funny things all weekend. She's been getting the chuckles.
It's true. But on Discord, thank you.
Slightly more active on Discord.
Thank you, Front Tug. Well, people post their pictures of their pets on Discord.
I'm still mostly lurking. It's so much effort for me to interact on social media these days. Mostly because I'm getting ready for Playa and doing 10,000 other things. But also, sometimes it's hard to act right.
Yeah.
But if you really want the premium way to interact with us because you are a nasty, dirty little pay pig, find us on our Patreon and get rid of some of that disgusting, filthy money you've been hoarding by sending us to help on this project.
Yeah, unless you're a bunch of beta cucks like all you woke lefties and commies these days. Beth.
I'm an anarchist?
Uh-huh. Sounds pretty neoliberal to me. Oof.
How?
Yikes.
Sorry.
Why you gotta be mean?
That is too accurate a misuse of neoliberal.
Look, I'm just some dumb guy with a butt plug made out of a revolver in my butt. That's how I like my freedom.
You played that Russian roulette? I didn't know. I was going nowhere.
That sounds like a small French pastry.
Right?
Keep it in! That's what we get for doing it live.
Thanks, bye. Watch Bobby Fingers.
Look at our Patreons.
Listeners, watch Bobby Fingers.
Everyone should watch Bobby Fingers. Also, you should watch Pat Finnerty if you don't watch Pat Finnerty, but you should also watch Bobby Fingers.
These are YouTube folks.
Watch both in order.
Start at the beginning. I don't know. Starting with Fabio for Bobby Fingers worked pretty well.
It did.
It did.
Yeah.
Starting with Train on What Make This Song Stink. Worked well, but it did drive me back to the beginning. Tell us about it in the comments.
Thank you to our patrons on Patreon. To give a list of our most recent patrons in the past couple months, thank you very much to Max. Thank you, Max.
Max. Sorry, there's a cat named Max. Max Cat. So that's how I'm going to say your name all the time. Max.
Thank you, Max. Thank you, Random Name Gen. Random name Jen. Very good name, I think.
Jen with a G?
Gen. Like random
Like
name
name
generator. Yeah.
Not random name Jennifer.
No.
But it could be.
We get so many fucking emails from Patreon. How am I supposed to know who our new patrons are without logging into Patreon, which I don't want to do right now? Thank you to Kimberly. Thank you to Mags. Mags, your episode will come out early next year. Probably not this year. We're almost done with the season. Thank you to Josette. And thank you to Jen. Brown Eye Jen with 2 N's. You know what that means. Thank you to Buttercup. I believe we mentioned Buttercup already. Buttercup, if we have mentioned you twice, please reach out to us at accuracythird@gmail.com, and we will be sure to rescind the extra thank you that we gave you so our other patrons don't get all butthurt and stuff.
Also, if you are a patron and you would like apply a name, if you have given us...
Nobody's filled out that survey for like a month and a half now.
If you've given us $5 in total over the entire time of you being our patron, you can be named by us by filling out a short form and sending us pictures of your pets.
And if you like really, really need apply a name, but you don't have $5 to give us, we have a separate apply a name scholarship form for you to fill out. And then once you fill that out and you're accepted into the apply a name scholarship program, then we will put your name on a plaque in our studio to show the community the good work we've been doing. And after that, we will send you the survey that everyone else gets so you can give us the information that we need to provide you with apply a name.
I wonder if the lack of people filling out that survey has anything to do with the reading out of their most embarrassing moments on the microphone, despite not mentioning that we were going to do that.
They fucking gave us that and love it.
No one's complained.
No one has complained or even...
That's consent, right? No one complaining?
You would know.
Let us know in the comments.
Tell us about it in the comments.
Second goodbye.
I've heard mention on the podcast Dday going toward dim blinky lights, right?
Oh, all day.
I would like to validate Dday on doing this sort of thing. I also
yeah.
like getting up to this on art walks. Now, sometimes you find a generator, right? But like other times you find something cool.
Sometimes that generator is connected to stuff.
Yeah, totally. Or like, case in point, I thought I saw fairy lights, like I guess it was 2 years ago, or wait, 2022, whatever. Fairy lights looked like it could have been a generator, not quite sure. Walk over to the thing, and it turns out to just be a bed of nails. And on it is like 2 puncture-proof cushions. So my partner and I are there. We grab the 2 puncture-proof cushions, sit on these things, and as people roll up, they think it's a thing they can sit on and quickly realize they cannot. 2 things that you can sit on. But like the extra awesome feature we found with this, that I'm not sure if it was planned by the artists or not, but there was a tall sculpture with like a crescent moon thing on top, like tall metal sculpture, like far away from this thing. But like if you're sitting on the cushions and looking at this thing at exactly around sunset, the sun like hit the point of where that like moon thing was at the top of the sculpture. And just like, if it's intentional, like awesome. If it's accidental, like cool, it worked, right? But you won't find that sort of thing unless you go to the blinky lights, and it's like no risk, no reward, right?
Oh yeah, it's always worth it to like get lost in deep playa and point yourself at something that is just like a liminal signal. Like maybe you're not looking at anything at all, but maybe that's also some lights.
It's really fun for my friends to gripe at me because I myself am griping so often. It is fun to lay blame on me taking our friends on adventures because really it's the only way to hang out with me.
It's like 1 time out of 10 or whatever, you will find the cool artwork going with the tiny lights.
Yep.
And like other personal favorite of mine that I've seen out there across years. I don't even remember what year this was. 2016, 2017 or something. We're going like around the perimeter, like trash fence, right? And eventually you like make way over to the DMZ, right? And so there's like nothing over there, right? And then like notice this like one dim light, right? And go over to this thing. It's just like a normal street sign sticking out of the ground, right? Like typical thing that you'd see like rusted saying like no parking here, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever, right? And instead it says like smoke 'em if you got 'em. On this spot in 1993, a hippie bummed the 10,000th cigarette at Burning Man. Like, that's it, right?
That's awesome.
Loved it. It's like one of my favorite pieces of artwork I've seen out there. It's just like, what is this doing? Yeah, great.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's really good.
Oh, I want Burning Man historical markers. That's beautiful.
That's
Yeah,
a good project.
I don't know if that was even out there in official capacity or not, but like bravo to whoever did that thing.
There's only so much official about art at Burning Man.
Yeah. Ultimately, you could put art anywhere, and the artery and DPW, they won't say anything about it. Just bring out as big and cool a thing as you can, and just, look at the situation you're in and place it appropriately. They'll understand. They have artists on staff.
At least put a blinky light on it, though. Just give me your D-Day a hint that it's there, right?
Yeah, well, everyone should light their art properly and have an artistic director. That's obvious.
Yeah, and also probably check in with Artery.
Yeah, maybe. I just love the idea of somebody bringing like a $2 million fucking sculpture out there and just being like, it's fine. We'll figure it out. We think here. Yeah. That'll be over there. It's fine. We'll just put the generators near each other.
What if someone just like casually dropped that like 50-foot steel Mongolian warrior out there?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I know that thing's been mentioned on the podcast before. I had a slightly different experience with it, though, if you'd like to hear.
Yeah.
Yes, please. What's it called again?
It's like this 50-foot tall, like steel Mongolian warrior that I think the actual name was Desert Guard. I did look it up after the fact, because at least when I saw it, I'm like looking at the thing. It's pretty cool. There's like lots of other people looking at the thing, but I look kind of like down at the ground, like 20, 30 feet in front of it. And there's a guy who's wearing the same armor sitting in front of it. And I'm like looking at everybody else. Nobody else is looking at this guy. And I'm like, I think he exists. I'm going to go talk to him. And this is not my imagination. And I just like, hey, what's up? Like, are you the artist? It was totally the artist. Looked him up then, Lu Ming, very cool human. Sat down with him, just like shot the talk for a little bit. He said his English was not that good. I thought it was great. We had a great conversation. Just smoke some cigarettes, have some drinks, talk about the art. Which, like, I did not realize this thing was extremely heavy, like many tons. I want to say like 1820 or something like that. A bunch of the pieces of metal were like laser cut, but a bunch of them were hand cut and kind of all put together. And the other neat, cool feature that I learned from him is that thing was aged basically, or hung out in, I think, the Gobi Desert, somewhere in Asia for like a year or two before it got brought to Burning Man.
Oh, wow.
So, like, that patina was not all playa. And as his description, it was not just there to kind of get some dust on it. It was there to kind of like soak up the desert energies, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought that was very cool that he was like, just happened to be there and talking about the art and talk to artists, kids. It's fun.
That's true. I've had almost nothing but incredible experiences running into artists at their pieces.
Except at that little airport we were at.
That's true. If your artist is at the piece you're at is busy working on that piece well into event week and in the middle of the night, maybe leave them alone.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, they might not want to be talking to you at that moment.
We didn't want to talk to them. We just wanted to be on their like swing and seesaw airplane things. And I don't think we noticed them. We just noticed like their fun toys. And then we noticed they were over there. And then we realized that like they were very unhappy with us.
Oh, well.
Yep. And then I believe we continued to frolic for a little while before continuing on.
I don't think they were unhappy with us. I think they were just actively disinterested in our presence.
Well, that feels aggressive to me. What I'm doing is delightful and always in the right.
This is just because you haven't been exposed to nearly enough Russians.
Disagree. Yeah, full disagree right there.